So welcome everyone. Our topic today is fitness gear must-have. So exciting resources and tools for your home-based fitness, or as you're returning to the gym, gym bags or outdoor fitness. Lots of activity options when it comes to the thousands of fitness props and resources out there. We were casually talking about home weightlifting benches. So I think, Matt, you had a suggestion on that. Go ahead and jump in.
No, I have one. Kelsey had alluded to the fact that she had found one on Amazon that folded up, lightweight, one that inclines. Is there a decline feature on it as well, Kels?
Yes.
Yeah, I have one of those as well at home. I think the only concern is, I mean, it is portable, has a little handle on it for if you were doing in-home personal training, you wanted to move it upstairs or downstairs or perhaps outside on a patio like Venice Beach. But I do think that lightweight one, if you are pressing heavy weight, and most heavy-duty weightlifters know this, I don't know that it would be robust enough. And that would be my concern. Kels, how do you feel about yours? If people are truly doing powerlifting and pressing some heavy-duty weights, I wouldn't want the bench I have at home.
I mean, I feel like ours is pretty sturdy. We don't have crazy heavy weights, specifically at home, but like, I was just trying to find it on my purchases and I couldn't find it. But I mean, I felt I felt comfortable in it, but you're right. I mean, you want to make sure it's set up properly and put into gear properly and whatnot. So just for safety.
Right.
And I like to do step ups on the bench too. So you want something sturdy. And so, just curious because me personally, I like to do like chest presses, step ups, Bulgarian lunges with a bench and make it kind of multi-purpose. So just making sure that some of those cheaper ones are more sturdy.
Kendall, that actually leads right into what I was thinking, which is we have a portable, it's more of an aerobic step, but you can use it as a bench. TC Fit uses it at Studio U. The legs fold under, so it can be a low aerobic step, or they fold up and it can serve as a bench that's probably about 12 to 18 inches off the floor. So it's a little lower, but made for standing and jumping as well.
And I do think that unit that we have over there is a solid unit as well.
Yeah. So we are open to questions or input on recent purchases. Feel free to add those into the chat box or unmute. I am going to pass this off to Kendall. And Kendall, what was your most recent fitness purchase?
So I'm kind of excited, but I've rejoined the gym. So I just go to LA Fitness. I want somewhere that I can do cardio on my own, just because when I teach classes and kind of do my own thing with weight training. So for me, I don't have a treadmill at home. I don't have an elliptical or a step mill. So I like to use that. So that's kind of the bigger thing for me. But also during COVID, I did purchase a weight rack, just like a rack. So it fits, I think, about 5 sets of dumbbells. And that's been a huge lifesaver for me, just to hold my 25s and 20s and 15s and get them off the floor. So that was my nerdy purchase.
And Kendall, I'm going to show your weight rack. This is the one that I believe you had suggested. So this is out there, and I'll share this PowerPoint deck in the chat box when we're done today. So if you're curious about the weight rack that Kendall is using, you can check it out. And Kendall, did you already have weights, or what weights did you use to fill this rack?
I luckily already had weights. They were kind of hand-me-downs from my dad, and luckily we were going to get rid of them because I figured I don't work out at home. I like to go places, but so I'm glad we kept them. So yes, I already had the dumbbells, and this weight rack I actually recommend to a lot of clients, just, if they're looking for anything to, again, get their weights off the ground. But also it's just useful. So.
I see a question from Adrian. Thoughts on a Theragun for muscle soreness. And I know, or I believe, Matt, Theragun was on your must-have list. Do you want to take that one?
Right. Well, I bought one. Truth be told, I bought one for my wife because I was sick of her complaining to me about her COVID neck as she worked at our dining room table and didn't listen to me about proper ergonomics. So, in lieu of having to treat her myself or send her to one of my colleagues, I bought a mini Theragun. I've been familiar with these. I get a lot of questions about this in the clinic, and I think they can be a nice tool. Now, Adrian, there is no solid scientific evidence that this is a tool that is going to help soft tissue. That said, I've been around long enough to know that there's many different soft tissue techniques, and I think that the Theragun and the percussive instruments can be very, very effective. I do think that in certain areas that you need to be put it on a lower setting and be very gentle as you work into that area, because I was quite surprised on my sore muscles how much this really got in there. Or maybe I'm just a wimp, and you guys probably, you're like, yeah, Matt's a wimp. But ultimately, I do think there should be some thoughtful approach with it, and that is start slowly with the Theragun, and also stay off of bony prominences. Oftentimes, my patients will say, I have a big knot up here. They're actually on a bone like the spine of their scapula. Just make sure you're in the soft tissue and not on a bone, either whether that's in your glutes, in your quads, or up in like in your shoulders. But in those soft tissue areas, I think it can be a very effective treatment. Couple things. I would stick with, as I've found, this isn't my personal experience, but experiences of my patients who have asked me about these. The two main higher end brands are Hypervolt and a Theragun, and both of those I've found to be very, very effective. I can't say that one's better than the other. However, there are a ton of gray market units on the market, okay? And that is number one, some that look like it, some actually very much imitation out of China that aren't, that break. They're at the same price point, that $300 to $400, so they're not cheap, but they break and aren't as durable. I'm not sure about legitimate off brands, but I would say that the Theragun and the Hypervolt are nice units that can be a very effective tools when used properly.
Matt, I have a question. For your neck, how do you go about using the gun on your neck, like on the back? Is there any areas that you should avoid or spots that are better than others?
Yeah, I think in the neck, it's my Theragun Mini is you're able to get there because you can hold it. I do think the ones that are actually like a gun, the Theragun Mini is kind of in a triangle. And the other guns, it would be tough, I think, to do it on your own. So you have to get a trusted partner or spouse. They might use that as a tool to, get after you a little bit. But ultimately, I would stick, again, make sure you're on soft tissue, upper trapezius, okay? In the midpoint of your scap, we call that the infraspinatus. So in that area, that might be helpful. And then right up, that upper trap comes right up in your neck here. So it's not just here, but it comes up in your neck. And I think you're fine there. I think the areas to stay off of are the posterior spine of your scap as it moves into this acromion area here. I'm sorry if I'm using terms. And then also right on the side of your neck, that's where your articular pillars are of your vertebrae, and also in there vascular structures that are somewhat important. And not that we're worried about damaging those, but the scalene muscles are in there. And I just feel, from what I know of these percussive instruments, it might be a little too much to get in there with that. So I'd stick on the posterior sides of your neck. I do think there are certain attachments on the Hypervolt and the Theragun that can get up, like in these areas where people have a little bit of soreness. I do think that they probably wouldn't be quite as effective up there because, as Michelle will allude to as a massage therapist, those tissues are pretty thin and very close to the skull. So I think that there are other techniques that can be used, but those are the areas I'd focus on for the neck. It's a very good question.
Matt, thanks for touching on the safety. With any home fitness equipment, it's important to think about the safety first. I could understand the use of one of those percussive tools as it's a passive treatment. I would advocate for using a $5 lacrosse ball for most of those places instead of a $400 tool. But the best piece of fitness equipment is going to be the one you'll use. So whatever works
Amen.
best for you.
Michelle, aren't there some award-winning YouTube videos of somebody using a lacrosse ball for soft tissue?
Yes, I believe TC Fit has made some great myofascial release videos.
And I think that model might have been out in New York now. He got a new business. I'm kidding. It was me, but I think the information's good.
Right.
So we do have those up on our YouTube channel, and I think they're categorized under appropriate files.
But
Matt's just trying to get more views of his videos, everyone.
Well, Kendall's setting the bar, so I've big shoes to try to fill.
As we talk about recovery tools, that leads into one of my favorite, which is a foam roller. I used foam rollers at the gym for a long time. I went out and bought a short one, so probably about 18 inches at Target, and almost immediately invested in a longer, higher density foam roller. So if you're thinking about buying a foam roller from home, really think about how you're going to use it. So length is one thing, and then also density is another. I will share so you can see the foam rollers that we typically use in the gym. There's Matt's Hypervolt. It is this one from OPTP, and notice that it is a moderate density or standard density. So if you know you like the ones that you've used at the gym, it might be worth your $40 or $50 investment to go with this right off the bat rather than trying a cheaper or less used model. Kelsey, do you have any other thoughts on foam rollers?
I love our foam roller. I have the exact same one from OPTP, except mine's in white, and we use it a lot. It's great. It's a great tool. I do, I'm sure some of you have seen some of those foam rollers with those huge, divots and nodes and whatnot. I mean, that just scares me because a foam roller can be quite intense where you're rolling. But I would start with the one that Michelle had suggested, just a basic one. And then if you really want to get in there with some knots, and maybe Matt, you can attest, you can get one of like the graded, I don't know if I'm explaining that right, like nodes almost.
There's a ton of stuff out there. Some of them vibrate now. So I can't say with conviction I recommend those. I do think the OPTP is worth the extra dollars, especially if you use it, because it has a better feel. We have some Amazon ones in the clinic I'm in with, and I hate them. So I actually have the OPTP one now that I use, and I don't let anybody else touch it. No, that's not true. But it is a superior product, and they last longer too if you do use them. Some of the other ones, the foam will break down. It'll get kind of a U-shaped and flop around. And I think not quite as effective. OPTP has a softer version. So if people are really thin or they don't have the muscle bulk in there, where they'll be on those bony prominences in their spine or in their pelvis a bit more, or I have somebody that in clinic that has osteoporosis and she's very thin, and she wants to use it just to roll on, and I recommended that she gets the soft one. So you can get those on Amazon, but OPTP is actually right up in Plymouth, where half of General Mills works or it lives, in that Plymouth area, and they have a showroom that you can go and get these and try them. I think that their COVID restrictions are relaxed, but they have a little showroom. It's basically an internet company, but they have a place that you can purchase. If you needed to get one today, you could go there and they probably have them in stock, and you can try them out before you buy them to get the right density.
Great. Kelsey, I'm going to send it over to you. What has been your most recent fitness purchase?
Yeah, so two things. I purchased some fitness flooring because I was teaching classes and working out downstairs on concrete. Not good for your body. Doesn't absorb shock, and it's just not very fun to work out on. So I did buy some foam tile type cushions that interconnect together, and that's been a huge help. And then I can do my ab work or rest on my forearms and stretch much better rather than being on concrete. So if you continue to work out from home, I would highly recommend something. Or I know Kendall picked up a mat because she was kind of ripping up her carpet. So anything that you can do to kind of save your floor. Another purchase are the loop bands. And so I bought these off of Amazon. It's Simplify, and it came in a pack of 5. And there are just so many exercises that you can do with these total body type stuff, cardio workouts, and obviously easily travelable. You know, you can just pack it right back up again and go. One thing to take note, as with any band, is they can give over time. So when you're using them, just always double check to make sure there's no big cuts or cracks in it. But these are pretty thick compared to the some that I've used in the past. So, and they have a little numbering system on it as well. So you know what to start with, or what's the easiest and what's the heaviest. So this has been a fun little tool.
Kelsey, I'm just going to put this loop band up here so people can see. I think this is the exact brand that you were showing there. And we also often recommend the Spry band. Spry has some, they're reputable in the industry, and typically their products sometimes a little more expensive, but you get quality for what it is. Mm-hmm. And it's great to mention the loop bands because we have class coming up next week. I'm not sure who's teaching, Kelsey or Kendall.
I think it's me.
I think it's Kendall.
We know our schedules.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in joining Strictly Strength, June 14th at 11 a.m., one of our instructors, probably Kendall, will be featuring exercises with those loop bands. So now is a great time. If you happen to purchase on Amazon, hopefully you get the 2-day shipping. So that's a great option.
On that note, starting in July for Strictly Strength, we're going to incorporate both weights and a long fitness band with the handles. So you can use weights or a band, but we'll intermingle and use them both. So just a heads up on that.
Hey, Michelle, can I touch on the mats that we had talked about? And just to go back, if people these mats, you can buy some foam ones that are a little cheaper that interlock, and some are a little bit more expensive. Some of them you can spend a lot of money on these mats. One option for just covering I don't think it would necessarily help with cushioning, but if you're trying to protect floors from weights and carpet or hardwood floor or concrete wear, that are the stall mats that you can get at Fleet Farm. They're heavy and awkward, but they're not going to move. But oftentimes they're a nice supplement for people who are, putting a bench down and have a free weight area in their home to protect the floor. They're a lot cheaper than buying something equivalent at a fitness-related company. They're called stall mats because they're used in horse stalls to protect the bottom, but they work very well. They're about a half an inch, and I think they're 3 by 5 feet. They come in, but they are heavy duty, so you might need some help moving those, getting them in your car and into your house.
And just to help clarify, we're essentially talking about a flooring cover versus a mat that you would use for yoga or your.
Correct. I'm being very clear that this is not, but it would just be more of a floor protectant from a bench or moving things or dropping weights and things like that, but protect the weights and also the floors. So yes, not a yoga mat.
And then you'd want to put your exercise mat on top of that flooring.
Definitely.
Just a few more minutes remaining. So hopefully all those participants, you're enjoying these tips and tools, but feel free to ask a question if you have any questions, or share what your most recent or successful fitness purchase has been. Until we get those questions coming through, we're going to switch over to music and motivation. A lot of us are listening to music when we are working out. And Matt, I know you have a favorite tool for that.
Yeah, I bought these fancy AirPods with COVID because I thought, we'll be Zooming, and I bought what I thought was the best on the market, and I researched things, and I thought, okay, these are as good as any. But what I found out was, as I move, or I lay down on a bench, or I move with a group fitness class, they did not stay in my ears despite the different sizes and trying to size them. So what I did, and it comes in a handy carrying case, and Michelle has the picture up. are these little things. I think they're like $12. What's the price on there? I can't see it.
Yeah,
But
$13.
these fit on your AirPods, and actually, when I use these, they stay in my ears. What I have been doing in the winter, I would wear a stocking cap if I lifted weights or did a class to keep the AirPods in. Now I use this, and my AirPods will stay in place.
That's awesome because I personally, with AirPods, it hurts my ears and it doesn't stay in well. And I need kind of that rubber grip. And I know I've talked to many other clients that have the same issue. So I think that's a great solution to that.
And these are the AirPods Pro. I don't know about the regular AirPods. So that's what this would be used for, I think. But I'm sure there's a similar device for the standard AirPod.
And we'll do a quick push through. Once you have your headphones set, I'm using Spotify as my mix. Kelsey, do you have a favorite streaming service?
Well, we just use Apple Music, and you can search playlists and do a bunch of songs on there and whatnot too.
Kendall, what do you use for your personal mixes?
Spotify all the way. I put together playlists, and what's nice about that is that, you know, someone in General Mills could actually follow me and, you know, see all the playlists that I put together. And, you know, same thing with any outside instructor, but I love Spotify. I've been using it for years.
Matt, what do you use?
I use Apple as well. And Kendall, I'm told that people that know more about this than I do, that actually they feel that Spotify curates a little bit better music playlist than Apple, despite the fact I have Apple. So I certainly like it and have been using it. And but I used to have Spotify, and again, I can't speak as an expert. This is what I know, but I'm told that people that listen to a lot of music and use it for fitness say that Spotify does a better job. That's purely anecdotal, obviously.
An article just came across my desktop today talking about hearables. So hearables are essentially an audio version of a wearable, and that will measure your heart rate, your blood pressure, potentially your temperature. And the projection is that down the road, music companies like Spotify will curate your music playlist to your body's biometrics. So
Wow.
That's scary.
Creepy and cool.
It is crazy. Well, we are coming up on the end of our fitness forum today. So I am going to leave you with my two recent purchases. Pickleball paddles. If you haven't tried it, it's the sport of summer 2021.
Michelle, isn't that just old people that do that? Don't you have to be over 70?
No, it's everyone. So get out there, give pickleball a try. And padded bike shorts. I know my colleagues have already been on this bandwagon, but it makes all the difference.
100.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. We hope to see you in a couple weeks for Fitness Forum Fitness Intuition. If you have any questions, please reach out to our team at any time.